guys. So I wanted to make a video for the Meganheartsmakeup contest about writing a letter video kind of thing to people that are still in high school. So you have to be out of high school if you're going to make a video, and then if you do a comment, that means you have to be like either in high school or like going into high school. So I'm in university now and I have a lot of things that I would like to tell people. Okay, so first of all, I know people say that high school is the best time of your life. I completely disagree with that. I did like high school. I had like a group of friends that I was with and stuff like that. Like, it was fun. You do learn a lot about yourself, but those are not going to be the best years of your life. And if they are, then you must have had a very awesome high school experience and had nothing better than that for the rest of your life. How sad would that be? Because they're probably not going to be that. So I want you to stop worrying about that. But also, another thing is, if you have a boyfriend in high school, or girlfriend, whoever's watching this video, you need to make sure that you do not ditch your friends for whoever you are dating. That is one of the biggest things I saw in high school among both my friends and just people around. And they ended up doing everything with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and then once they broke up, they went back to their friends and they're like, hey, you know, let's hang out. And then friends were like, you haven't talked to us for a couple of months because you've been hanging out with your boyfriend all the time. Okay, so that's another thing. Just make sure you don't turn into that kind of girl or guy that has to do everything with the person they're dating and doesn't regard their friends when they're dating someone. The next thing is, of course, be yourself. There is no fun in trying to change yourself for whoever you want to fit in with. You're going to end up learning this anyway, whether you learn it the hard way or the easy way. And so you just have to make sure you are yourself, because there are people who are going to like you for who you are. With that being said, try to also find a balance between saying yes to things and standing up for yourself. You don't want to be a yes person all the time, but also you don't want to be the one who is, you know, always the rebel and being like, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you stick up for what you want to do, and just that you sometimes say yes, but sometimes no. You just make sure that you can find a compromise within the people that you're with. Next, make use of your summer. You only have 2 months to do that, and every single time we came back from the summer, we were most of the time like, oh my gosh, that summer went by so fast, and like now we have to do a whole another year of school. So just make sure that you, like, during the summer, you don't just laze around. Just like get out there and do stuff. There's so much stuff to do when you have nothing to do. Which brings me to my next point. Try and get a job. If you can get a job, it will be so much easier to, you know, hang out with your friends and do stuff that you actually want to do, because it helps you become more independent. It gives you money, it gives you a sense of responsibility, and, you know, it's just part of the high school experience, having a job. I worked at a grocery store for 5 years. I don't necessarily recommend working somewhere for 5 years, but I worked at Sobeys, actually. I don't know if there's Sobeys in other countries. There are, aren't they? Anyway, so I worked at Sobeys for 5 years, from 14 to 19, so it was the summer in between grade 9 and 10 that I got a job, and I'm so glad that I had one, because in grade 9 I was asking my mom for money, and I was trying to earn it other ways by, you know, babysitting. But if you have an actual job that you go to, and you have like shifts, or however the job, you know, that you get is going to work, it's way better that way. Okay, another thing. You are going to probably want to try stuff in high school, like drinking or maybe drugs or maybe smoking or something like that. So my best advice for that is, I mean, if you're going to try it, you're going to try it. It's whatever. I have friends who have never tried alcohol or drugs in their life, and they are completely fine with that. And I have other ones who, you know, have tried it and gotten into trouble that way, but have found their way out. Personally, I was never big on the whole drugs thing. Alcohol, the drinking age here is 19, so I'm already drinking age and stuff, but it wasn't that big of a deal to me to try it. But to be honest, I did. I tried alcohol before I was legal, as most people do. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Because just because everyone else is doing it does not mean that you should, and does not mean that you will like it. I have friends who hate the taste of alcohol, like hate it, and that's why they don't drink. Also, when you get to high school, you're not necessarily going to keep the friends that you had for elementary school, and that's okay because high school is a place that everybody figures out who they are, you know, what they like to do and stuff. And also, you're not going to have all of the same classes as those people. So there, you're going to find new friends, and that's where you're going to kind of figure out who your friends are. I have elementary school friends that I have kept like through college. I'm going into my 3rd year in September, and I'm still best friends with some of those girls. So it's not something big to worry about. If you drift from some of your elementary school friends, that's okay because there are way more people in high school, usually, than there are in elementary school, and you're going to meet so many new people. Another thing that makes a huge difference when you're in high school, and I know this sounds so corny, is to smile all the time. Like, if you're walking down the hall and you have a smile on your face, you are way more likely to attract people than if you walk and you look worried and, you know, you're afraid of what people might think of you. If you have confidence and if you smile, especially when you're walking down the halls or when you're in class, you are way more likely to attract a lot more friends. Just go into it with a good attitude, because I know a lot of people are really scared to get into high school. But once they get there, they figure out how to deal with it. And so that's probably my biggest thing, is that you're never going to really know until you get to high school, and if you're already there, then you can probably relate to some of the stuff that I'm saying. Last thing, I'm sorry, and this actually has to do with academics. The last 2 years of high school, please take them seriously. Like the first 2 years, grade 9 and 10, they are kind of different in their atmosphere because you don't really take it seriously, which is fine because you still have 2 more years after that of high school. But the last 2 years, grade 11 and 12, that's when you are thinking about going to college and university, or maybe you just don't want to do any of that, but just try to take those 2 years and work really hard. That doesn't mean, you know, spend any less time with your friends. Just make sure that you really take what your teachers are saying into account and try to become a better writer and try to, you know, prepare better for college or university, or just for life after high school. Also, and this is the very last thing, please don't drop out of high school, you guys, because it screws so many people over because they have to get their GED, or they're stuck in like this job until they figure out how they're going to get the rest of their education. I know a lot of people who actually didn't finish high school in my town, and they're still trying to tie everything up and get their education. Just please, please do not drop out of high school. Okay, so I hope you guys really like this video. I will make it a video response to Meganheartsmakeup's video. And so I hope you guys really got some valuable advice from this. I really like to read your comments, so please just like go down there and comment, rate, and subscribe and all that stuff. So anyway, I will see you guys later. Love you. Bye.